back to another episode of
Caps Off
by Adam Tabachman.
By Arthur Smith.
By
Arthur Smith.
Thank God, bro. Bijan's officially back.
Bijan is
Who would've known?
back. Back
Well,
Bijan.
You saw the rumors of Bill Belichick might go to Atlanta.
Nah, we can't do that. No.
I don't want that.
We cannot do that.
I heard you're going
We
to
cannot
Atlanta.
do that.
I'm going to Atlanta.
Yeah.
I'm the quarterback or the coach
Head
or the
coach.
GM. Well,
Head
they kept
coach.
their GM. I would. All I know is Bijan would get 20 touches, like 20 real touches a game at
Mhm.
least. Like,
Well, we finally at the end of the season. What a
Oh,
crazy,
it's so
what a crazy
sad.
season it's been. We're gonna do a little
Yeah, it's-
recaps. Welcome back to our recaps episode. By the way, I
ooh,
feel like it's been a while.
hey,
We're all back in the studio. This is the
Mm.
first time we're here without Jack.
Sad.
Adam, you got to see Jack this weekend, right?
I did. I was actually with him last night at the Dolphins game. I took him.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yes, kids.
Nice.
A few times.
Nice.
Yeah, there's videos of that actually.
Hell yeah.
Sweet.
I give credit to Jack. We've always joked about him being such a real passionate bandwagon fan, and
He's really good about it. He's
really
not-
made me
I
feel
feel
that.
like I've said this about him for a while. Most people are horrible at bandwagoning. It's like annoying. It's like, oh, you just live here. Now you're
Yeah.
ready for this team.
Yeah.
Jack does it really well, where it doesn't
Mm.
bother me. Makes
Yeah.
sense. He embodies the culture.
when it
He
was like 4
embraces
minutes
the
left and
fandom.
the Bills were driving, I think I hadn't said a word in like 22 minutes. And Jack's like trying to fire me up and be supportive and
Yeah, he's like
everything.
that.
He was like, "Come on, Adam, come on. They need you. Tua needs you right
Yeah.
now." And then Tua threw an INT, so that's cool.
Yep. Not a great game for the
Dude,
Dolphins.
that picture of Tua literally shitting his pants during the
Yeah.
game.
I mean, that's honestly
I've never seen a
accurate.
player do that.
It's
Yeah.
accurate. It's pretty
Amazing.
accurate.
That was crazy.
Amazing photography work by the NFL sideline photographers.
Shout out
honestly.
Ghetto Gronk though,
Yeah.
Yo,
because that was pretty damn accurate.
yo, that shit's crazy though. Like that shit, literal shit was
Shit
crazy.
was great.
Well,
Well,
it was a
put
lot
that
of
on a
shit.
TikTok. Clip that shit out because it's gonna go viral. Put it on a TikTok.
Oh, also speaking of viral, we haven't been together since we absolutely got to
We
Oh,
murdered
we
that
went-
man.
we
talk
went
about Dumb Climate.
Nuts on Doug Climate. Oh
Dude.
my god.
Oh
Wow.
man!
If you
Well,
haven't
we
seen
didn't-
the video, go to the Game Day NFL Twitter account and check out the video of us reaming Dove Climate.
Well, let's clarify.
I knew
We
it.
didn't ream him out. We just spoke facts and what happened. The comments reamed him out.
comments
The
reamed him out,
ratios
bro.
on his Twitter account.
We're insane.
I mean, and congratulations to us because it's clear that Dove was saying that we were using him for likes
For
and
attention.
which is
He's
I mean,
like, they
his-
want attention.
It's like, bro, ain't nobody want to deal with you, dude. Like, Jesus Christ.
That was
Hey, but even if we
hilarious.
were, it worked. So, well, why not?
It was-
it worked.
No, some of the comments were hilarious. You would click on any one of Dove's tweets, and then on that tweet
It'd
would
be
be like,
like,
"Ratio, are you a hacker?"
Will you address the allegations?
That's just the allegations. Those are the best ones.
That was
So,
so
just the
funny.
allegations. Like he's OJ Simpson or some shit.
I wonder-
So funny.
I wonder, out of all the people watching on TikTok right now, did anyone see the video on like Twitter? Did anyone see? Because I'm curious that it was all over Twitter and like
Yeah.
TikTok. It didn't really.
I
hit.
had a bunch of people come out to me and they were just like, "Fuck Dove Climate."
I have people texting me about it too. Yeah, I mean, 5
Oh.
million views is crazy, bro,
Yeah.
on Twitter too.
It's a lot of people.
But I would say, man, for a man living in Israel,
Is he?
there's been a lot of violence in Israel lately, and
Yeah.
we just incited some more. So it's not.
That was on us, though.
That one was on
Not
us.
on either side out there. That was on
Yeah.
us.
Oh boy! Oh boy! Oh boy! Well, R.I.P.
All right, Dove Climate.
All right,
That
man.
was fun.
Oh,
That was
man.
crazy. All right, what should we talk about? Football? Should we recaps football?
Yeah, no, you know what? Let's just end here.
All right, yeah, it's a pretty good
Episode.
season.
No, let's talk about football.
There were
I want to.
so many collapses.
I want to talk about a couple of the. There were a couple of teams that totally collapsed this weekend, and a couple of teams that just snuck their way in and
Yeah.
and have been getting hot at the right time heading into the playoffs.
Mm.
Let's start with the collapses. Adam, do you want to start with your team? Or you want to push it off and start with the others?
I don't mind addressing the elephant in the room, but I just ask that the person to my right is a little bit more gentle with his words. I've been very
Gentle. Just gentle.
I know
I'm
you're
kind
no,
to your team.
I know that.
I just
No,
don't
you're
change
not.
my tone
No, I just
or my tune. What would you say last week?
I think it's
I just want you to be.
Tune?
I know you
said
want to
tune
shit on the
last week.
Dolphins. You have been shitting on the Dolphins
I'm
as
not going to be
non-content-
mean today.
I'm just
I'm
asking. If,
feeling good.
if you are whatever you are going to say, just think a couple steps ahead.
Think about your feelings.
Yeah.
I will just say, I don't have much. Okay, I'll start and then let you go. This is what I've been saying all year.
About
The Dolphins.
which is
Well, that's what I said last week. Like they're gonna lose to the Bills, and then followed up by saying they could still beat the Chiefs the week after. Like, I think the Dolphins are who we thought they were. That's all it is.
an
There you
injured
go.
team. Because
Sure.
that's who they
A lot
are.
of teams get injured and still win.
Dude, the Dolphins have like.
I'll let you
Right.
go. I'm just saying I'm
No,
not in an
I-
aggressive mood with the Dolphins. I haven't been all year. The
aggression.
Dolphins are who they are.
an injured.
They are
team.
who we thought they were.
Yeah, they're injured. They're an injured team. We thought they'd be injured.
Yeah, despite the injuries, the Dolphins fucking.
They are who
No.
we thought they
The
were.
Dolphins.
They fucking
Dolphins
tanked.
colossal collapse. Colossal collapse by the Dolphins.
Who had a bigger collapse, Jack Perotti and the Pick'ems,
We'll get into that.
we need to
get
talk
into
about
that.
the
We will
tips.
definitely get into that. But I will say the Dolphins at one point were fucking 9-3. The Bills were 6-6. They lose to the fucking Titans. Dolphins had a 95% chance before that game to win the division, and they fuck it all up. And look, we talk about I'm bringing up the injuries, but who is to blame for the Dolphins' recent struggles? It's Mike McDaniel. It's Mr. Genius. It's the guy,
It's
Mr.
everything.
Boy Wonder. I love him to death, but Achane was averaging like 6-point-something yards per carry, or 5.8, I think it was, in the first half of yesterday's game, and he had 2 carries in the second half. They forced a punt, and the Dolphins got the ball back, and he threw the ball 6 straight times. Like they went 3 and out, and it happened against the Ravens as well. There's no adjustments. So as much as I love Mike McDaniel, and I know people are going to shit on Tua, and Tua could, have games where he plays mid, and he does shit the bed in primetime, and it is definitely something to be concerned about, that he's not elevating people around you regardless of the injuries. But when I look at the recent struggles with the Dolphins, and I got to pinpoint it on someone, I pinpointed on Mike McDaniel. You're the head coach, you got to make adjustments, and you're supposed to have this high-flying offense, and this high-flying offense has not shown up in any real primetime game against good teams. So I put it on Mike McDaniel. At this point, it's going to be 0 degrees in Kansas City. I hope Taylor goes because the Chiefs play worse when Taylor's there. So I'm hoping for the best, but the Dolphins fucking find a way to beat the Dolphins. That's what happens.
Good luck out there, sir.
No, I don't want to shake your hand.
Why? I'm wishing you good luck and good. I'm wishing you good riddance.
I'm so upset.
He's
good,
upset.
Good riddance, right?
The Dolphins, you have to understand.
You're upset because we were right.
You have to no, it has actually nothing to do with you guys. I'll be completely honest. No. It has nothing to do with you guys.
The Dolphins, though, greatest football team.
As a Dolphins fan, I'm upset because it finds the Dolphins will always find a way to Dolphin. If you ask any real Dolphins fan, they know about this this shit happening, and they found a way to poop the pants again. As you said with Tua's meme and shitting his pants. So the Dolphins found a way to fucking Dolphin. Collapse of the century, but not like Jack Brody's, of course. And hey, good luck to us going into Arrowhead. I do like our chances going into Arrowhead. If the Dolphins had to play back-to-back with Buffalo or going to Arrowhead, I think I would choose Arrowhead, but I also want the division.
This is why I love the NFL. The NFL is always about storylines and, character arc, right? The Dolphins started the season being compared to the greatest show on turf, and the character arc.
By one
now
person.
that's good
By one
story
person.
writing. You talk about character development. It's like fucking Reek from Game of Thrones. Character development starts out strong, hard-hitting guy,
and then
just
Mike
totally in the dirt.
Oh.
And then Mike McDaniel's dick gets cut off, and he becomes a nobody.
Yeah,
right,
you
Felipe?
didn't
Right,
watch-
Felipe?
you didn't
You didn't
watch
watch
the
Game of
Thrones,
Thrones.
so.
I'm just saying,
They got cut
NFL
off in that show?
storyline writers, and his dick gets cut off in the show. It's crazy. You should watch it. It's fun.
Don't sleep.
Storyline.
Don't
The
sleep.
storyline though. Yeah.
The show's for you. No, but NFL storyline, the script writers, they have something going there. They're very good at character development, which I can always appreciate.
Yeah.
And the Dolphins, they went through some serious character development.
I'll have to say,
My-
Adam, you got to give your team a little bit more respect. I mean, you shouldn't be as hard on them because it's like what we were saying before. When the Dolphins were 9-3, we knew they weren't a 9-3 team.
No.
Like the other teams
No.
that were 9-3.
Don't say we. Don't say we.
You didn't know. You
This
didn't know.
team was
You
putting
didn't know.
up
You
70
thought they were the greatest team ever. The rest of us said they are levels below other 9-3 teams.
I'll admit, I was convinced they were
Bro,
one
they
of the
were
best
fucking
offenses I've ever
legit,
seen.
and they
agree
were
with the
doing it.
offense.
They were
The
playing well
offense.
before they even had Jalen Ramsey back. The defense was humming.
Yeah, but there was always a thing against them that they couldn't beat good teams. They couldn't beat teams that were above 500. And when they played the Eagles, at that time they were 9-3. Did they lose to the Eagles a week after? Is that what happened?
No. That was way before. They had only played 3 games against teams above 500. Like that, they were just playing on
But
their
they had
schedule.
lost every single
And
one.
those were the 0-3.
And they did beat the Bills earlier in the season.
No, they lost.
Oh, just
They
kidding.
lost.
And so right. So I mean,
We were
that's-
9-3. We beat 9 teams below 500, and we lost to 3.
But at
above
that time,
500.
we knew they weren't as good as the other 9-3 teams or the other teams that were up there as one of the best teams in the league. So
it doesn't make.
I don't think if I were to preview the rest of the season, I think maybe they wouldn't have fallen off this hard, but they definitely would have lost most of the games that they lost.
And I'm not.
And they probably would
I
have
know
lost
we
more.
argue about the injury bug and you have to overcome injuries, but I do think it gets to a certain point that you cannot overcome injuries. And I know a lot of teams have injuries, but our injuries,
Yours piled up more than most
it happened. We went into that Washington game, one of the healthiest teams out of the possible contenders, and that game is where it all began going downhill. So This team, I don't believe can overcome the amount of injuries that they have. They're starting 3 like edge rushers in Gink.
Your offensive
Jalen
line
Phillips,
was
Bradley
all
Chubb.
backups.
Yeah.
And,
Well, no, we had
then
some starters.
Bradley Chubb and
back,
Jalen
like,
Phillips are your 2 best defenders, arguably.
It sucks. It's unfortunate. So going back to your point, like, no, I thought this team was legit, and they found a way to collapse. Regardless of who we thought they were or who we didn't think they were. They had a 95% chance to win the division. There's no excuse to blow the fucking division like that at all.
The Dolphins, they're in the playoffs. Season's not over.
Oh, in the playoffs. I want to win a Super Bowl.
Okay.
I haven't won a
We told you that wasn't. No, we told you that.
I haven't won a playoff game.
There's still a chance. You are in the playoffs. You can still go and win the Super Bowl.
It was 2000 the last time I was practicing speaking English.
The beauty of football and of sports is that the regular season gets you to one place, and then from there you got to take it and seize it.
0-0.
So if the Dolphins could turn it around, it's 0-0. Exactly.
No, you're correct. You're
correct. 17-0.
We're on pace now. Don't sleep. Don't sleep, bro. The Dolphins.
18 weeks, actually.
I did say, and we'll move off the Dolphins, that I have
other things.
We have a lot of other things to talk about. That this was the year of Adam being a more optimistic Dolphins fan. And obviously, I'm very pessimistic right now. And now that I've got that off of my chest,
you've been good.
I feel very strongly about what could possibly come now that we're 0-0 and the season is just beginning. Because you want to know why, regardless of the injuries?
Tell us why.
The Dolphins at one point, finishing the season, were the only, there's only one other AFC team with more wins than us. Okay, moral victories. Tua led the NFL in passing yards. Yep, the Ravens. Tua led the NFL in passing yards. Tyreek led the NFL in receiving yards. Mostert led the NFL in rushing touchdowns. We had the number 1 total offense. We were the number 10 total defense, and we were number 3 in sacks. So you put all that together, and you scream optimism. Going into Arrowhead. We're going to go get a dub.
Beautiful.
Did you have to say it with that tone?
Well, I told you, I'm trying to
optimistic.
He's glass half full, glass half empty. I can give you both sides.
He's speaking. I
can give you both sides, though.
Yeah, no, I'm not trying to be a downer with the Dolphins. I think you guys are fine.
No.
You guys can
Miami
win.
has the Dolphins, the greatest football team.
That's facts. You can win against the Chiefs. I totally believe you can win against the Chiefs. The Chiefs have been sputtering. You guys have as well.
Sputtering.
But you guys have as well.
Such a good word.
But I think the firepower that you guys have is scarier than what the Chiefs have, even though they have the greatest quarterback we've ever seen. I still think the Dolphins can win that game.
The Dolphins have the greatest quarterback.
The Chiefs have the greatest.
Talk about storyline. Trevor Lawrence. Another good story. Another good character development guy is Trevor Lawrence.
Well, what do you think is going to happen in
I just
House
want
of
to
Dragon?
recap.
Is that guy going to die?
He's going to be in House
Aegon
of Dragon.
Targaryen?
For
What's
sure.
His name?
I don't know.
They cut off his dick too?
No, but
probably.
he might.
But Trevor Lawrence's dick for sure got cut off this season. Trevor Lawrence's character development throughout the season was strong. It was a steady decline. We started after week 1. We came in. We said Trevor Lawrence was top 5 quarterback.
That's crazy.
I think Felipe put him as like number 3 in his power rankings after week 1.
I
think it was unreal.
I
think first week. I think it might have been 2. Yeah.
Yeah, but I also put Purdy in the top 5. That was an overreaction.
That's true.
No. You were overreacting, but it was like
but Purdy
it was fair.
Purdy at least he kept it up. There's an argument now for him to still be a top 10 quarterback.
Top 10, yeah.
Trevor Lawrence is certainly not in that list. I don't think anymore.
Trevor Lawrence ain't in the top 5. That's for damn sure. He ain't even close.
No, that's a fact.
He ain't even close.
Is Trevor Lawrence a fraud?
Can you say YES?
Ring, ring, ring. Fraud alert.
Oh, my God.
Ring, ring, ring. Fraud alert.
Bro.
Yeah, no, he's a fraud, bro. It's actually annoying because
it's pretty sad.
Well, yeah.
It is.
Bro.
You want to see greatness.
I'm blessed because I get to see an amazing quarterback every single Sunday. Barely ever miss throws and stuff like that.
The second best.
Tommy DeVito.
And yeah, Tommy DeVito, not Dak Prescott. But you watch this Jags team, and Trevor's missing throws left and right. And Matan brought it up earlier.
You got to watch that
camera.
play.
But like 4th and 2, the missed throw to Evan Ingram that lost him the game. Before that, he missed Calvin Ridley wide open.
Calvin really should have dove for that. Like
you got to put it on him.
That's fine.
I mean, it was right there. But I agree with you. The 2 throws after that, though, because even before Evan Ingram, he missed him. And I get it. The corner was like cutting underneath, but whatever.
So, missed throws. If it was my quarterback, the whole world would be talking about it.
I totally agree with you.
But Trevor Lawrence, nobody's going to talk about
Tua just did that, like throwing it to Chase Claypool. That was what the pick, that's how they picked it off. And Tua, yes, he shit the bed, and Tua has shit the bed. But when it talking about the Dolphins I'm just saying it's fair. Like Trevor Lawrence should be ridiculed for that type of throw. 100%. And I see some comments, people talking about, Trevor Lawrence, he was injured, and they still believe in him. And my thoughts on injuries in the NFL is like, if a player is cleared to play, it's the Scotty the King line, is like, they're fine to play it. Like we can't just give that excuse to someone. It's the same with Jalen Hurts, right? He was playing with that injury, but we weren't sitting here talking about, oh, well, that's why we should give him a pass. When Jack was trying to do with Joe Burrow with calf injury, like you can't, if they're cleared to play, they're on the field.
They're expected to perform.
They're expected to perform. And Trevor Lawrence from week 1 all the way down, just steady decline. Yep. And it's unfortunate because we finally gave Trevor Lawrence the elite alpha wide receiver weapon that we thought Calvin Ridley was going into the year. Well, I'm just saying, you add a weapon, you get a weapon. They had a ton of weapons. The Jags arguably had, coming into the season, like one of the best.
Evan Ingram had a great
skill
year.
Positions all over.
Evan Ingram probably had one of his best years.
Yeah. So like, I don't know what's the next step for the Jags? Is it moving on from a Doug Peterson? I don't think so. But this was a monumental collapse for the Jags. I mean, at one point, I think they'd only lost 3 games, and I think they finished 9-8. I think it is.
Yeah. They had a really bad into the year.
Yeah, it was terrible. I got a question for you guys though. Knowing what you know about Trevor Lawrence and knowing what you've seen from CJ Stroud, who would you take for the next 5 years? CJ Stroud or Trevor Lawrence?
Yeah, I think I gotta go CJ. He's got that fucking dog in him.
Yeah, I would say, even though earlier in the season, obviously we hadn't seen Stroud for that long, so
and we got to see what CJ looks like in the playoffs.
But the reason I think it's okay to switch early like this is because they're both very young, and they both have a lot of career to play. I think what we saw from CJ Stroud in his rookie season, man, it's like we've only seen from a few rookie quarterbacks.
Yep.
Dak Prescott, to name a few.
Of course, yeah.
I just saw a stat.
Well, if he didn't miss 3 games, CJ Stroud, I think, would have broke the record for like passing yards too. Didn't he miss like 2 or 3 games?
I think
he was in the upper echelon of rookie seasons. Yeah.
Oh, he was
I think what we see from Stroud, I just think it's the swag, man. It's the charisma, like the leadership. It's crazy. And I haven't seen people talk about this, but I mean, the Texans management drafting Deshaun, I think it's the same management. Drafting Deshaun Watson and going straight from him pretty much. I know they had it in between.
I think it's a different one.
Is it different?
They cleaned house.
Then lucky ass fan base, because you go from Deshaun Watson, who was probably the second or third best quarterback in the league before everything happened, to CJ Stroud, who has the potential to be the second or third best quarterback in the league.
Exactly.
Like, that's amazing. So
I saw this stat that CJ Stroud, only 3 quarterbacks in the last 50 seasons have led the NFL in passing yards per game and passing touchdown to INT ratio in a single season. Joe Montana, Tom Brady, CJ Stroud.
Yeah.
I think he might be the only rookie to lead in.
Yeah, so Nick Casario is the GM who's named like in 2021. He was with the Patriots as well. So what they've been able to do, because of when the Deshaun Watson stuff happened, like it felt like this franchise, the Texans franchise, was ready to go fully down the shitter for maybe another decade. Like you had this like this aura around you being like, well, how did the McNairs allow something like this to happen? And then you bring in DeMeco Ryans, you bring in Nick Casario, C-section, whatever the fucking pronunciation is, and they hit on CJ Stroud and they hit on Will Anderson early on. And like, if you look at other franchises, many franchises would probably advise not to do what they did, which is take their pick the following year and then say, fuck it, we're going to move up to get our, the guy that we want. And like, look, it worked out. It panned out. And now you're sitting there. They just fucking won the division. So going back to the question over CJ Stroud or Trevor Lawrence, I think I would take CJ as well, solely because of also the talent around him. Like we've always talked about with quarterbacks that a Joe Burrow, look what he does with the talent around him. Look what a Tua does with the talent around him.
Okay, but what about clean slate? Right? No talent around him. Who are you taking?
I'm explaining to you. CJ, I think, has less talent than Trevor Lawrence.
That's the point.
I agree.
Yeah.
So because of that, and the way CJ, when Tank Dell went down, for them to still be able to win games, taking in the Noah Browns of the world, Devin Singletary, who was written off. And yes, that's obviously a Bobby Slowick thing in terms of the OC, but I would take CJ because he was able to do more with less and get his team over the hump and win games, right? Which we argue why we don't support Justin Herbert sometimes, why I don't support Justin Herbert. If you're an elite talent, you got to go win games regardless of who the fuck is there. Yeah. And CJ Stroud was able to do that. So I'll take CJ over Trevor right now, just how Trevor performed this year. What would you do?
I agree. I would take CJ over Trevor. Not because of the talent. Because of what you just said. I guess I do think of Trevor as like a more talented guy. And CJ Stroud, like I was watching him, he was on McAfee before. And I think McAfee was the one that said this. Like CJ Stroud looks like a 10-year vet out there. He just he's just like patient and makes the right decisions. And like people give him shit for his fucking IQ bullshit. The guy knows ball. Like he
Yeah.
comes out there on McAfee's breaking down this fucking crazy play he makes, using all this lingo I don't even know. Like I don't understand as a non-player. Like I have no idea what the fuck he's saying. But like no regular person, no average person can just like do that shit. And he's
obviously not average.
Obviously, he's not average.
There's a legitimate chance that Trevor Lawrence, maybe after next season, after the 2023-24 season, he could be the third best quarterback in that division.
Yeah,
Anthony
absolutely.
Richardson could ball out. And he was playing well before he got hurt. Now I have worries about his endurance in general if he keeps playing the way he plays, because he shouldn't be lowering his shoulder that
He's
much.
the last team in that division.
But the last team, the Titans. So
the Titans. Yeah.
They got good quarterbacks.
And they're all young.
That's gonna be a gauntlet of quarterbacks for the next 10 years.
But I think at the same time, though, like through the first quarter of next year, Trevor Lawrence could easily regain the status as the best quarterback in that division. Like he could be better than CJ Stroud. I think right now it's like you can flip it either way. But I think that from what I've seen this year, I'm gonna go Stroud, and I think you can do that because you haven't seen that much from Lawrence, anyways.
Yeah. So I also think it's crazy. I saw this graphic was going around Twitter during that Texans game, but that Washington staff in 2013, the year I think they went 11-6, they won the NFC East, but is arguably the greatest coaching tree.
I think they went
in the last 20 years. Well, they went 11-6 and then they won 3 games, and I think RG3 got hurt that year.
16 games, so they didn't go 11-6. But
yeah,
10-6 it might have been 10-6, yeah, whatever. But that coaching tree, the Washington coaching tree in 2013, you had Kyle Shanahan, who was the OC.
McDaniel.
You had Mike McDaniel. You had Sean McVay, Matt LaFleur, and Bobby Slowick. And it's funny because the 4 guys I feel like that many people spoke about over the last couple of years were Matt LaFleur, Sean McVay, Kyle Shanahan, and Mike McDaniel.
Yeah.
And now Bobby Slowick, who you would look at the Texans, you see what CJ Stroud was able to do. You saw Tank Dell and Nico Collins and all these guys were performing. But Bobby Slowick was like kind of this guy that was behind the scenes.
There.
Yeah, he's offensive coordinator. Another young guy that like comes from this tree, and it's like,
that's true.
Who was the head coach?
Mike Shanahan.
Oh yeah.
So
damn, bro.
Crazy,
That's crazy.
Right?
So that coaching tree alone, because Bobby Slowick's going to get looks to be a head coach this year in the offseason, and he should. Like, there's a chance that coaching tree gave you 5 new head coaches that are arguably in the upper echelon of offensive play callers.
Yeah,
that's crazy. I would like to see him stay in Houston, though. Just keep that relationship going with CJ. The same way we saw Josh Allen develop with Brian Dable, I'd like to see that happen with Stroud. Stroud, man, he could be so special, bro. Like, I think after you saw this rookie year from him, you haven't seen many rookie years like this, like we just said. But also, I mean, at this point, we can say that we're going to see him for the next 12.
We also,
years.
I know we want to move off the Texans, but the Texans are so far ahead of schedule. It's like, I don't think we're actually taking enough time to appreciate, or if you're a Texans fan, appreciate the character development of the Houston Texans. Like, you have your quarterback, you have 2 wide receivers
that are really good.
You have corners, like you drafted Stingley 2 years ago now, and they had another guy who was like in the top 12 in like on PFF. You have Will Anderson. You have
they got a good
coordinator. You have a good coach that people like to want to play for. You could even Damian Pierce wasn't good, but you have a young running back. If you don't want Devin Singletary, I think the Texans are in such a unique position because now heading into this draft or even the offseason, you could really go out and just add pieces anywhere, right? There's not like real. I'm sure there's other needs, and we're not fully analyzing it, but like it feels like they can just go.
It feels like Cincinnati when they drafted Joe Burrow.
Bingo.
Where like his rookie year, he looked pretty good. The team had some talent, but obviously they weren't great. He tore his ACL. And then the next year they make the Super Bowl run. But the Texans have a lot of pieces. Obviously that next year, that Super Bowl run year for the Bengals, they added Jamar Chase, which was huge. The Texans don't need a Jamar Chase. I think they should build the trenches at this point because they have so much talent all around in key positions. Like you talk about edge rusher, 2 really good wide receivers. Maybe they need an alpha. I don't think so, but they need help in the run game. But I mean, they look good.
I mean, like I think Damian Pierce is better than what he showed this year, but I do think because at Florida he was good. But they're in a luxury position right now. They can go add whoever. So the Texans are so far ahead of schedule. Jack called them 2025 Super Bowl champs.
He called them. Respect.
Do you think the Texans have a chance of beating the Browns?
Absolutely.
Yeah, they can win a game.
Absolutely.
They can win this game.
Didn't we say, or I said it a couple weeks ago, I think the Texans feel like the Giants of last year. Now, granted, they're far more talented.
I think the Browns are also a tougher team than the Vikings were.
I agree, but the Texans at home, you can't rule them out. This is not like Pittsburgh and Buffalo where you're like, yeah, Pittsburgh's got no chance.
Yeah.
Like
they can win.
It's way closer.
No, it deserves to be a close game. I just feel like the Browns have kind of just felt like the sturdier team all year. You know
Yeah,
what
I think
mean?
it's one of those games that it's going to be grimy, I think. But either team could win. I could see it happening. I think there's a few games this weekend that it could
We'll
go
get
either
to
way.
those on our predictions episode later in the week.
Yeah.
I want to talk about one more team that had talk about character development, downhill character development. Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah.
The Philadelphia Eagles fucking suck.
Yeah.
They stink. Jalen Hurts. Did Jalen Hurts? Here's a question.
Did Jalen Hurts fool us all?
Did Jalen Hurts fool us all? No. Did Jalen Hurts have a one season of a Linsanity run?
No, because listen to what we literally just went from talking about coaching, and then I think we underestimated the value of Shane Steichen. Now, Shane Steichen, shout out the Colts, Colts Forge over there with Kondo, just took this team to 9 wins, and they were almost won the division, and they were in the playoffs for a couple weeks. We underestimated that value of Shane Steichen. Then Shane Steichen leaves, and I think it was Brian Johnson or whoever the fucking Brian Johnson, right? Is their OC? It's clear, AJ Brown came out. We got to trust our coaches. It was very clear that they also didn't like him. And you got their offensive line who, clearly they aged a year, but it just felt like the team didn't buy in as much. So I don't think Jalen Hurts had a 1-year run.
But didn't you just say that a good quarter of the reason you give Herbert shit is because you got to win regardless?
Oh, totally. But they also won games.
Also
won games.
Yeah, but they lost 5 of their last 6 against horrible teams.
I agree, but they still won 11 games.
Justin
Herbert ain't even been close to that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that's why. And he also
But Hurts is a large reason that he's probably the biggest reason they've been losing.
No, their defense. Their defense is terrible.
Defense has been really bad.
But
their defense, they can't get. They were I think most metrics on defense, they're bottom 5 in the NFL.
Well, Jalen Hurts has. If your defense sucks, then you should be in shootouts. They're not doing anything offensively.
Well, yesterday's game against the Giants it's like they clearly gave up, and then AJ got hurt, and
the Eagles just feel weak right now overall. If I'm any of the playoff teams, I want to face the Eagles in the playoffs.
Well, yeah, because
that is one of the teams I want to see.
The 49ers put out the blueprint, bro. Nick Bosa talked about it right after they smoked them. Yeah. They smoked the Eagles in Philadelphia. Nick Bosa was like, yeah, pretty much just don't let him come through the C gaps. Just rush him straight up, right? Don't get outside container. He can break through and look to run. After that, Dallas fucking killed them, and they lost.
We know
4 of their last
every
5.
team in the playoffs is good enough to understand the game plan of the Eagles and understand how to contain them exactly. So,
but
they just feel like the team that is weakest going in.
But that's why I keep talking about this, the defense, because yes, the blueprint to stop them offensively, but they were exposed. Their secondary is terrible.
Exactly, yeah.
So they
have the blueprint to stop them offensively, and they have a bad defense, so you can beat them on your offense. So it feels like the team it feels like the Eagles. We think of the Eagles. The perception of the Eagles is they're a big, scary juggernaut just because they went to the Super Bowl last year. But I ultimately think they're not that. And I think that they're not a hard team to beat in the playoffs.
There should be concerns about Jalen Hurts, though. There absolutely should. I mean, come on. There's concerns about Trevor Lawrence right now. There's definitely concerns about Jalen Hurts.
Put up an MVP season, regardless of the circumstances.
Yeah, but Jalen did that last year with an incredible team. Trevor hasn't had a team like that. I know he's had talent underperform, but Jalen Hurts underperformed like crazy this year. I mean, the amount of turnovers he's had this year then have all been on him, almost so many of them. And we talk about the talent that they have all the time, between them and the Bengals, who has the more loaded offense? We've always said that. So he has this loaded offense. He has the best offensive line in the league. He has AJ Brown, who I think as a collective, this podcast said, all right, he's that top tier guy who you can put in the top 3, 4 wide receivers.
He fell off.
You have Devontae Smith, who's a fringe top 10 wide receiver. Yeah. You have Dallas Goedert, who's a top 5 to 6 tight end in the league. DeAndre Swift was one of the best running back acquisitions of the past few years.
You have the best offensive line in football.
Yeah, exactly. That's how I started it. That's the most important thing. And you're still underperforming. Jalen Hurts, there's a lot of question marks about it. There has to be concerns because not only as a quarterback are you expected to go out and win games as your and overcompensate for a lackluster team and a lackluster offense, but if your team is stacked and you're loaded, then you have no excuse at that point. So,
yeah, but we also had an argument last week where we said what percentage of success is attributed to coaching, and I started my argument talking about coaching. And I think the Eagles look like a team that just clearly lost it with Nick Sirianni. They were maybe all bought in, but don't now this year it didn't feel like it. They feel fatigued
Yelled
from
at
that
Chiefs
Super Bowl run,
fans, and since
yelling
then
at
they've
Chiefs
sucked.
fans. And granted, these guys are all grown men. So,
Yeah.
I don't think we're not talking about like college kids, but we're talking about grown men that are watching their head coach yell at opposing fans. It's like childish. Now, I'm just theorizing, but then let's go to their offense coordinator, defense coordinator. They were just moving back and forth from Matt Patricia to whoever the fuck the other guy was. And Matt Patricia, even though he was good in New England, like completely messed up his time in Detroit. So the whole coaching staff as a whole in Philadelphia is a major reason I think that the team has regressed. They have a ton of talent, but we do believe that you can have all the talent in the world. If you don't have the coaching, it ain't going to just translate all the time. So,
and that is why I think they're the team that you want to see in the playoffs.
That's fair. Yeah.
They feel beatable.
I don't know, bro. I wouldn't be surprised if Jalen Hurts isn't their quarterback in a few years.
Woo! I mean, a lot
would
can
be.
change in a few years. I'd be surprised.
Not many quarterbacks have the privilege to play with with this offense that he has right now. Not many quarterbacks in this league have that, bro. It's insane. Like, it's a loaded fucking roster. One of the best rosters. One of the best offenses that we've
but
ever
came
seen.
into this season
isn't
saying they were for sure the best offense.
Exactly.
in
And
the
now
league.
we're gonna say, oh, like the coaching's not there. I understand, but at some point you have enough talent. You did it last year. This is your second. You came off an MVP season last year. I mean, he didn't win, but he was in the running for it. And so this year, it's like you got to go at least have a good year. And he had a horrible year. Jalen Hurts had a terrible year this year.
No, it wasn't that
I
bad.
don't
It
think
was
it
just
was
like a
bad.
middle of the pack, and then if you
You
factor
take away his 1 yard rushing touchdowns, and
but he's still
Yeah,
like a
he
top
had
15
15
quarterback in the
rushing touchdowns.
NFL.
He had 15 rushing.
He's still like
They were
just
all
in
1 yard
terms,
runs.
in terms of most of his stats, he was still in like the top 15 out of the NFL. So like I agree. It's not like where he was second in MVP voting, but I think we're like, here's what I'd say. If the Eagles happen to win a playoff game and they play better, like that, the narrative is going to change again, because I just think you're a product of your system, and the system Jalen was benefiting from that. Every quarterback in the NFL benefits from the right system. It's the same thing we say with Justin Herbert. You probably put better coaching staff. Justin Herbert's going to go crazy, and they're going to win some games.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter about the talent. They've always had the talent. So when it comes to the Eagles, yes, they have all the talent in the world, but even the talent fucking failed. So I'm not worried about Jalen Hurts. I get it.
at all.
No, I think you should have like concerns because of whether it be the lack of arm strength or like
Accuracy.
But you're not
accuracy.
overreacting.
But I'm not going to overreact, because he deserves a little bit more of a leash, because he was just an MVP candidate last year. And
That's fair.
they
If
went
he
to the Super Bowl.
has earned a little bit more of a leash. But then I think the second guy you got to look at is Nick Sirianni.
Totally. Now
Like-
that to me is more fair. To like,
Nah, they both are. They both should be hot right now. Now, I agree. They both earned themselves a little bit longer of a leash, but let's be real. Who was the coach that the Doug Peterson that got the Super Bowl ring with the Eagles? He didn't last very long after he won that Super Bowl. Neither did Carson Wentz. This could be the exact situation, but that time the Eagles actually won the Super Bowl. They should have had longer leashes after winning a Super Bowl. Now they lost the Super Bowl, and both your quarterback is playing suspect and your coach is coaching suspect. I don't know, dude. It seems like they were riding the high earlier in the year, and that eventually kind of wore off. And
even when they were riding that high, that 10-1 was the worst 10-1 we had seen.
They were
We were
barely
saying they
beating
were not
teams.
beating teams by a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
bro, it just feels
They were
it's like
just caught up.
like we joke about Super Bowl hangovers. It feels like they have a Super Bowl. Like they just look exhausted.
Oh my
The team
God.
has not like
Get
early
them
on
in.
they were fine, but
Get them some water and some Advil, because that
Dude,
hangover
they're
was not good.
Pedialyte or some shit. Fuck.
Mhm.
But I don't know how we started this with the Eagles, but yeah, they had a crazy collapse. It's insane. There's no reason. I mean, we
Character development, my
Yeah.
friend. That's how we started.
but they
Let's
didn't.
talk about some characters
Real
that
quick.
developed positively.
AJ Brown, though, before we get there,
Oh,
how do you feel about AJ Brown having first said he's not a top tier
5.
wide receiver,
Mhm.
and then issuing an apology, a formal apology, putting him in the top 5. Is he out of the top 5 now?
No, so I think exactly what I did was I made that the wide receiver tiers, and I said
he wasn't
I
in
put he
that.
wasn't there. No,
Yeah.
he was in there was one tier, and then that was Tyreek, and then the next tier was like 7 other wide receivers.
and he wasn't
you
there.
could- no, he was there.
Oh,
no,
he was?
we added him there.
But I'm saying that was like my updated. That was like 3 weeks
updated.
ago. 3 weeks ago, I think it was the wide receiver tiers I did.
I thought it was like 2 months ago.
No.
There was one you did a while ago.
Where
after
I
he
said AJ Brown is not a top 5 wide receiver.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
and then issued an apology like a week after.
Yeah, for sure, because he was playing incredibly well. So
Yeah.
like if I had to choose 5 wide receivers, there's a chance AJ might not be in there because look what CD just did, and that like I can't ignore that at all. Like he looked like the alpha bona fide wide receiver 1, and AJ clearly fell off towards the back half of the season, whether it's coaching, whatever it might have been, like schematics, anything. Talent wise, I think he's in that elite category. But I still am going to say it, even though Tyreek didn't finish the season as strong as we wanted him to. You got Tyreek as in his own class, and then right under that class is the group of like the Jettis, the Jamar, the CD, the AJ Browns, the Devontae Adams, like Stephon Diggs, Cooper Kupp. I think Amon-Ra has a good case to also be there, even though his stature doesn't feel that way. But just like the season, he just had back-to-back season. He just put up like 1,500 yards.
Simi Fehoko.
So Braxton Bears, River Craycraft. Yep. So I don't know. The question was, how do I feel about AJ Brown? I think AJ Brown's one of the best wide receivers in the NFL.
I'm curious if you were bumping him back out, but
I wouldn't bump him out of the top like 7 or 8.
CeeDee Lamb took his spot.
Yeah.
This season.
He's already fringe.
CeeDee Lamb easily took AJ
Well,
Brown's
those always
spot
felt like the fringe guys, right? Like
100%. It was those two. It was the NFC East guys.
It always felt like they were like neck and neck. You would mention AJ Brown, and you'd be like, then CeeDee Lamb. Or CeeDee Lamb, then AJ Brown. Yeah. I think it's pretty. And again, it sucks because we could theorize like, oh, well, what if they had a better system? What if they had a better opportunity, right? It's like Devontae Adams. But naturally, I'm going to have to bump Devontae down, even though he had Aiden O'Connell and they were so much turmoil in Vegas. Like, there are other guys that had amazing years, and they need to be propelled up, and Devontae needs to be bumped down. So
let's talk about CeeDee Lamb and transition nicely into the Cowboys. Felipe, Felipe, it's your Cowboys corner.
Hey, you won the division.
Ready and go.
I said the Cowboys would win the division.
You did.
In the offseason.
You did.
Said they would go 12-5. Went 12-5. Don't sleep.
I said the Dolphins would go 11-6.
Dude, you're so
sick. Actually? Were you right out there?
You also said they'd win the division, huh?
Well,
yeah.
Keep going.
11-6 is good.
Bro, Lipe is him.
I think this is great for the Cowboys because you've been sputtering lately. You like that word, sputtering?
It's such a good word.
They have been, they haven't been looking great lately against Buffalo, against Miami, against Detroit. Yeah, you won against Detroit, but you didn't look great. These stupid turnovers early.
You got to win.
But you won. But then against Washington now, down 2 starters on your offensive line. Zach Martin didn't play. Tyler Smith didn't play.
For playoff purposes, they just benched them?
Huh?
Like, were they injured?
Zach Martin had the flu. Tyler Smith was
the vid. A lot of people getting the vid right now this time.
Not sure if it was COVID.
He said flu.
Yeah, but same.
Yeah. Well, and then you go out against a divisional opponent in Washington, a team that is trying to play spoiler right now, and you smoke them. You beat them by 30 points. Like you go in and do what you've been doing all year to a lot of teams. And you beat that same team on Thanksgiving by 30, so you just do it again. So that's how you want to end your season, right? You want to end your season with your best players having great performances. Dak Prescott, 4 touchdowns, looked great.
He had 4?
Yeah.
I didn't watch the game. I was
4 passing touchdowns. CeeDee Lamb had a couple of touchdowns. Tony Pollard got in the end zone. I mean, Deron Bland had an interception. Micah Parsons finally got a sack.
So yeah, that was the
Micah Parsons got heated with some guy I saw.
Yeah,
he was chucking some guard.
Yeah, Mike, dude, me and Micah, bro, we've been talking to the refs lately. We're like, bro, you gotta start calling these holdings. But they, we the players you want to see get involved and have good games heading to the playoffs. They did that, and so that you love to see it. Just a great game.
CD the only player 13 receptions, 98 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ!
Right, and so the only thing is Brandon Aubrey missed his first field goal. Actually, it was unfair because he got blocked. So the guy just broke right through. He passes a missed field goal.
Should have did a little flip.
Should have just grabbed the ball.
So he hasn't actually missed one yet. Because
then he missed the second one.
Oh, he did.
But then he made the third. The second one was a doink. It was.
But you're talking about how you finished your season, and he finished his season making a field goal. So,
yeah. But no, I think if you're Dallas, obviously you want to win that game, secure the 2 seed. Now, this is the best path I've seen as a Cowboys fan going into the playoffs because you play Green Bay this week, who has been playing well, and we got to talk about Jordan Love.
I want to talk so badly.
We got to talk about Jordan Love. But they've been playing well, against teams that I don't think Green Bay is all that. I will say that. Like, I think they're good. They've been playing well lately, but
they're not in the tier with Dallas.
When they face a great team like a team that Dallas can be, not consistently, but can be, then I don't think they're going to hold up. So I think that's a good matchup for Dallas. And then you got the winner between Detroit and LA, and you should win that game too.
That's the best position to be.
So and then you're playing in the NFC Championship game. So as far as like Dallas's past history in the playoffs, you're always facing a tougher team. You're facing, the past 2 playoffs, San Francisco early, either in the first or second round. You're facing Philadelphia, or you're facing a team that is tougher to beat. And this year it just seems way easier. Or in the previous history when you had Romo in, or even Dak's first year, you go against Aaron Rodgers and the Packers. The NFC isn't daunting outside of San Francisco, and you're not going to face San Francisco until the NFC Championship. So if you're Dallas, who hasn't lost at home yet, you have 2 secured games at home, the wild card in the divisional. if San Fran loses, which we've seen they can lose in these upcoming games, you're going to have the NFC Championship game at home. I mean, Dallas should go to the Super Bowl. And if they go to the Super Bowl, then
honest question,
it's over for us.
Dak can win that game.
Honest question, though, because I feel like there's so much slander on Dak Prescott. Like the consensus is always shitting on him. Right? And
by the way, if you make the Super Bowl, you know that the narrative is just going to be that was a cakewalk.
A cakewalk schedule. Playoff
here's my question then. Like, what does Dak actually need to do? Like, what is his baseline to officially put that consensus hate to rest? Because I think you're going to go out. Did that make sense a little bit? I think what you're
what is it? What is it to put the hate of Dak Prescott?
And I don't think it's a Super Bowl. I genuinely don't.
I do.
That's any quarterback goes to the Super Bowl, then it's but
Dak Prescott's biggest knock right now is that he can't win in the playoffs.
So he has to win one or two playoff games.
That's
no. He's got to win a Super Bowl. If he wins a Super Bowl, it's like you cannot argue it.
Shit. But like, what if he just gets?
Here's the thing with Dak. Nobody actually pays attention to him. So it's like there's always okay, he doesn't win in the playoffs. He's won 2 playoff games. He's beat good teams in the playoffs. Okay. So it's like people don't pay attention in general. So because of that, I agree with Matan. You have to go win a Super Bowl because
he's only made the playoffs twice, though, right?
Nah, he's made it like 3 or 4 times. Oh. But you go and make it to the Super Bowl and you lose, people are still gonna say he can't win in the playoffs. And it's like to go to the Super Bowl, he had to win playoff games. But people don't acknowledge that shit. So for the casual fan, is kind of what we're alluding to, and I'm alluding to. For the casual fan to actually be able to acknowledge his greatness, honestly, you have to win the Super Bowl. If you lose in the Super Bowl, he's still gonna be a choke artist. So you have to go win, and it's just. If you're the quarterback,
I get calling him the choke artist. Just me like looking at it without being a fan and having no stake in the NFC and just being an NFL fan. I would say that as long as he you win, let's say you beat Green Bay, right? I don't want to look past them because I love Jordan Love.
I don't think you can look past
them. You definitely can't. But then let's say I think it's better for Dak's case to put the hate to rest to go up against Detroit. Because I feel the consensus for NFL fans is supporting Detroit and what they can do over the Rams. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So if you go out and beat them and he has a good game, now you're in the NFC Championship against, let's say, the Niners. If he could beat the Niners and just get to the Super Bowl, I still think the hate goes away. If he has a good game against the Niners, I think the hate still should go away because it's a team sport and you put it on the quarterback. But if he has a good game, we got to have a real conversation about why are we still doing this?
There's a difference, though, between should go away, the hate for Dak Prescott should go away, and will. Yeah. If Dak Prescott takes the Dallas Cowboys to the Super Bowl and loses, everyone will still continue to hate Dak Prescott as a loser in the playoffs.
And we should do that.
Now, do I think that should be the case? No. If Dak Prescott takes the Dallas Cowboys to the Super Bowl, people should stop fucking hating. They should stop hating because he is consistent. I will defend Dak Prescott.
I will defend him with you.
I love hating on the Dallas Cowboys. It's one of my favorite things to do when they lose. It makes me happy. I get in my Stephen A. Smith mode. I love it. But Dak Prescott has been consistently a top 5 quarterback when he plays. If you look at whenever Dak Prescott is in for the Cowboys, I saw some stat. I think it was Mosher. Team. They're the top offense in the league almost. Yeah. They're the top scoring offense every time he plays.
And we've had 4 different offenses.
He's gotten ridiculed by injuries, which stinks. He had a couple of really bad injuries that put him out for a while. But when he was playing, the Cowboys have been the best they've been. So however, I hate to tell you, and I know you know this, Cowboys are the most hated team in football. If he loses in the Super Bowl, it's going to be classic Dak chokes, especially if he loses bad.
All right, so we'll assemble the Dak army and defend this man because that's crazy.
There's no point. Of
course there's a point, bro. We just argue for no reason.
No. Well, yeah, most of the time, yeah.
Yeah. What do you mean? I'm going to defend Dak. I already defend Dak, and he hasn't even done anything.
You can defend him, but that's not the point. It's
Felipe low-key exposed what we do as invaluable to society.
It's true. But what will and what should, that's
very invaluable.
That discrepancy between will and should, that's the thing with Dak always. Last year, we should have taken into consideration that his offensive line was one of the worst in the league and that his receiving unit was the worst in the league, but we didn't. And so it's going to be the same thing this year. We should take into the fact that, he makes it to the Super Bowl and had to get past the Niners, had to win these games, but we won't. Society won't. So he has to go win.
Society
but he can.
Dallas. Bro, Dallas against everyone.
And Dak has facts. Dak has the ability to go do it, man. I mean, so fucking talented. He's got the talent this year. Hopefully he's not going to get hit with that Tony Pollard injury against the Niners last year. Yeah. Destroyed him. Had no chance after that. Hope it isn't nothing like that happens.
But to the point of Tony Pollard, and we'll move off this after, it's I also like Rico Dowdle. He's been explosive. I'm not saying I'm just yes, but he wasn't there last year.
Yeah.
You know,
This is the first time though that I legitimately think the Cowboys do have a chance of making the Super Bowl. I do.
Yeah.
Now
you just got to play at your ceiling.
I don't know if they can beat the Niners. Their sample size against the Niners this year is not great.
Oh, I think Dallas can.
But I think they're fucking good, and they're as good as I've seen them. And
I think
CeeDee Lamb is amazing. Their defense is amazing.
Like we got to take into also account that, like as you said with the Dolphins, like it's 0-0 right now.
Yeah.
Like whatever happened in the
100%.
regular season,
Bro,
if anything,
the Rams
it's extra
could go
motivation.
Win the Super Bowl right now.
The Rams are damn good.
good.
Nah, they're not gonna do it though.
But the Rams are damn good.
Bro,
they are.
Dallas is gonna beat Green Bay by a good amount. They're gonna play Detroit or the Rams.
No, because I was just reading some of the comments. You would play either Philadelphia or like the Bucks because they'd be a lower seed.
Oh yeah.
Well, the Rams would be the next one up, and the Rams would play.
All right, well, let's
Niners
go Bucks.
then, right?
Okay.
I think
So
the Bucks
the-
could beat
yeah.
Philly in the first round, the wild card round.
They could. The Bucks
They
are
could.
what? Not because the Phillies.
The Bucks won the
Yeah, you're
division,
right
so they're
about
the
that.
4 seed. Philly's
Yeah.
the 5 seed.
Yeah.
The 6 seed is the Rams, and the 7 seed is the Seahawks. Yes.
No, 7 seeded.
Oh, the Packers.
Lions.
Packers.
Oh, so the
Packers,
Cowboys
right,
could play
yeah,
the
yeah, the
Eagles
Packers.
if the Eagles beat the
Cowboys.
Bucks.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah, you're gonna smoke. It's
It's the type
a good
of
route.
wins too for me.
But that's even better
Still.
though. If you have to go beat
Yeah.
Philly and then you go and
That's
you
better
have
for
to
you.
beat San Francisco,
yeah. I'm just
it's
saying,
better for the Dak
I
case.
get that the Dak argument is that he has to go win the Super Bowl. My argument is that I don't think that's fair, and therefore I think if he just gets to the NFC Championship and wins 2 games, and because it is a team sport, that's where I think the conversation should start.
But what if what if the Cowboys lose the NFC Championship because of Dak?
Well, then that's a whole different story.
That's a different. Yeah, exactly.
Like if we're
He
talking
throws
like
an interception at he pulled a Tua.
well, I would hope that he had more yards and a better completion percentage and like more touchdowns than Tua. I got nothing. You are 100% right to slander Tua, bro.
I know. it's just
What do you mean?
fucking-
2 in big games has shit the bed. Like,
All right, now that's
Fucking
enough about
Dak
that.
doesn't.
stray.
Can we talk about Jordan
No,
Love,
that's
though?
not a stray,
Speaking of the Packers, Jordan Love, man.
Yeah, he balled.
dude.
I mean, they didn't score a lot, but he 325.
Bro,
Jordan
He's
Love
second in
most
passing touchdowns,
it's
bro.
crazy. 4,200 yards
This
also
year?
This
So
year.
many,
Yeah.
yes.
Jordan Love
To end the season,
No
he finished
way.
as the second his passing touchdowns.
behind.
Dak Prescott.
Oh yeah,
Yep.
Yep, of course.
He was
of course, of
7th in
course.
passing yards.
Bro,
good for him, man.
to think that like people were
Packers
writing him
don't
off
miss.
after some weeks. The amount of times Jack said he was ass on this podcast,
crazy.
Yeah.
like yo, we gotta relax. Like we haven't seen enough yet,
They weren't. I mean, the Packers look pretty bad, but he always played well.
bro. He's
He's young.
he's making Mahomes type throws like
He's
left
had
and
a
right.
better. He had a better season as a starter, first season as a starter for the Packers
Than
than
Aaron
Brett
Rodgers.
Favre and Aaron.
Yeah,
Rodgers.
it's crazy.
Both of them.
Bro,
It's
he had
also-
one of the best seasons in the league this year for a quarterback.
I think it's also we got to talk about like we're sitting here. We just talked about C.J. Stroud and like the year he had with his first year as an NFL quarterback. Like we got to keep that same energy with Jordan Love. Like Jordan Love, this was his first year as a starting quarterback.
Didn't feel as heroic.
Well, it wasn't as like sexy because it's like
No.
the Packers and they've been a great franchise.
No, the Packers are
and-
sexier than the Texans.
no, but the Texans, it felt like yep,
Out of
those are
nowhere, out
shitters,
of nowhere. Yeah,
With
yeah.
the Packers, it's like the Jordan. Like we got to keep that. I just think Jordan Love is for real.
Love
Jordan
is
Love
real.
is the real fucking deal. Sitting like the Packers did it again. They got another fucking quarterback. And not only that, the Packers going into next year are going to have one of the best wide receiver trios in the NFL. And to me, that is massive. And no one expected that. You hit on
Dobbs.
no, you
Christian
hit not
Watson.
even. You hit on Jaden Reed
Yeah.
from Michigan State, who was one of the better. If it's not Puka and it wasn't Tank because Tank got hurt, Jaden Reed might be the best rookie wide receiver in this class.
They had a good year too.
Zay had a good year, but Jaden Reed was better. So he had bless you.
Thank you.
So
Woo.
Jaden Reed,
Cold.
unbelievable. You hit on that. Dontavian Wicks out of fucking butt fuck.
Dontavian. He
Great
had,
name also. Hit
I
on
think,
that.
2 touchdowns yesterday.
I didn't watch. I was tailgating.
I didn't know who he was.
And then Christian Watson, and then you add in also Romeo Dobbs. Like the skill position, the wide receiver group in Green Bay is for real. So
Yeah,
man, I'm happy for
LaFleur's a
Jordan
good
Love.
coach.
Love is in the air.
Hey, I'm happy for them too, man. They're fucking good. I can't help but think about if Jordan Love was in San Francisco. Like if he was the quarterback for the 49ers.
Oh,
Bro, you want to
man.
play that game?
I mean, this would be the most talented team. I've already said they're already the most talented team, despite not
You wanna
having
really
an
piss
elite
Jack off?
elite quarterback. Bro, Jordan Love in San Francisco. Oh my god.
but then what's the point of that? What's the point of that?
Greatest team in the history of sports, bro.
No.
Oh,
Patrick
come on.
Mahomes in San Francisco is the greatest team in the history. of
Dan
sports.
Marino.
Yeah,
but stop.
exactly.
John Elway.
No, I'm just saying.
oh man.
Because I think that we could say the Patrick Mahomes in Kansas City thing. That's all. Like, that's wonderful. It's not
San
going to happen.
Francisco, yeah.
And this won't happen either. But Patrick Mahomes is clearly the best quarterback in the league, so that's a stupid thing to say. But Jordan Love, a lot of people throughout this whole season will probably say Brock is better than Jordan Love, and I think at this point we can see that Jordan Love with less, statistically, outside of like these like super high efficiency marks, which is an indicator of just having a great team that Brock Purdy's been able to do with like QBR and stuff like that. Jordan Love has had quite a few metrics that are actually better than Brock Purdy this year, and he's done more with less. And so if he were in San Francisco, I think it's a legitimate conversation. Like, would they be better than San Francisco?
Well, Brock also didn't play this last game, so his stats, I think Brock would have been up there. I get the argument you're making because you're like pure talent. Like we said with CJ Stroud, Trevor Lawrence, like which one are you going to take? I think Jordan Love was always more talented, but it doesn't matter because Tom Brady wasn't the most talented quarterback. It's what he had around him, how his ability to elevate others, like and that mentality that got him over the hump so many times. So I get it with Jordan Love. I think he's far more talented than Brock, but it doesn't matter about the talent because Brock Purdy can still win fucking games. And if the Niners go win a Super Bowl, we can't just sit here and be like, Jordan Love is better than Brock because we got to give credit to what Brock Purdy can.
Well, we don't know yet,
but that's not the point.
We don't know yet though that Brock Purdy is actually the one elevating.
That's my point.
As it is right now, we believe that the team is elevating him.
That's my point. Which Jordan Love,
Tom Brady, after enough time with Tom Brady, we knew that Tom Brady was actually the one elevating everyone else.
Yes.
Where I think probably when he started, he won those 2 Super Bowls when he was young.
Yeah.
He had some of the best defenses, best teams, amazing teams around him. I don't think anyone was like, I mean, maybe he won MVP. I don't remember, but he might have won Super Bowl MVP. But did he win MVP within those first couple Super Bowl years?
No.
My point is to say, right now, our theory is that the team is elevating Brock Purdy. We don't yet know that Brock Purdy is.
No, I get it. I
don't know that yet. If he does that for another 10 years, then maybe we could say that.
No, I get it. I just don't want to take. I don't want to.
I'm not trying to take away from Brock Purdy. I'm just saying that these are two guys that we probably think are on a similar level right now. Probably. Maybe not. I think that there's.
I think people will put Brock. I think there's a case to be made, but I think people will put Brock.
All right. So since there's a case to be made, there's not a case to be made with Patrick Mahomes. That's my point. So yeah, you could say, Patrick Mahomes on the 49ers.
And they both had better years.
There's a case to be made with this.
They both had better years than Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah. So there's a case to be made with this. So it's just like, would the Niners be better with Jordan Love? I think, that if they had Jordan Love, it would be the Trey Lance experience going right.
It'd be Aaron Rodgers on the.
The problem is Trey couldn't. The problem is also Trey couldn't stay healthy. So like it was hard to.
Yeah, but even when he was healthy, he underperformed.
Yeah, no, I get it. I look.
Imagine the Niners if Trey Lance had fucking worked.
Yeah, I get it. But how
they would be the greatest team ever.
Could we credit Jordan Love, Matt LaFleur, and the Packers without having to slander Brock Purdy? Is my.
Who is slandering Brock Purdy?
It's just we're discrediting him in terms of that system. He could be a system quarterback, but that's okay. He's fucking.
That's what he's saying. He's saying that's okay. Jack has said all year.
It feels slanderous.
We know what this is.
It feels slanderous. Is like there are guys that are more talented than Brock Purdy.
Like I like Brock. Brock's a damn good quarterback.
We're all consensus that Brock is the damn good quarterback, and his team is the best team in football. That makes him perform better. Ultimately, that is how it works.
You know what it is? It's not personal, Adam. With the Niners, they're so good that we like talking about, other quarterbacks in that system. I was talking about Herbert in that system. We're talking about other guys. Now that Jordan Love is actually balling out and we can clearly see that he's elevating that team and he's really fucking good, how would he do in that system? It's not about Brock. It's about the Niners. And it's about how good would they be with Jordan Love.
That's off to that, my friend.
No, I get it. I like Jordan Love, so I will buy everything and drink all the Kool-Aid that you're sipping. But
can we talk about the Buffalo Bills?
Oh, no.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, they're one of the hottest teams in the league. Definitely, probably the second hottest team in the AFC.
The Bills.
Yeah.
I think they were 5-5 when they fired Ken Dorsey, and now they're. Nice. I think they finished 6-1.
Damn.
Yeah.
Good for them.
They're hot, man. They're scary. They're scary, bro. They're scary.
But
in the AFC,
here's what I'll say. And Josh Allen, outside of like Dak, and we're going to take total touchdowns for this argument with Josh. Josh had an amazing year, even though statistically from a completion percentage, there were some other stats that he was like bottom half of the league, but I'm just taking total touchdowns.
A bunch of INTs. I think he might have led an INTs.
And we talked about coaching, right, with the Eagles, and I think coaching mattered with Ken Dorsey, and obviously Josh Allen has had moments. But at the same time, Josh Allen finishes PFF's #1 graded quarterback, and there's reasons for that. There's metrics to measure that. I think when it comes to Josh, though, like he's closer to that Dak argument for me, right? When we were talking about what does Dak need to do to like stop the slander, Josh Allen's slander will stop only if he goes to the Super Bowl. He doesn't have to win it, but only if he gets that team there.
Certainly, if Josh Allen loses in the Super Bowl, he will not be slandered anymore.
Yeah,
because
right.
He's looked at like Joe Burrow.
Yeah.
Yes.
Just like Joe Burrow.
Yeah.
Not even. I think a lot of people, it feels like most people slander Josh and take Joe over Josh. But if you look at the actual stats and then we talk about the context, right? We were just talking about the Packers versus the Niners. Like Joe Burrow's had more, and that's okay. But when it comes to Josh, the Bills, I mean, they're one of the hottest teams. I will say that Dolphins game, like, what makes the Bills, I think, incredibly scary is that they've had injuries on defense, and yet the defense is what won them that game yesterday. So, like, the offense, we haven't seen this high-powered, through the air type of offense that we've seen in years past with Josh Allen. It feels like as of late, the defense and running the ball.
Yeah.
And that's a scary combination when you have an elite quarterback like Josh Allen who can be Superman at times. So I do think that yesterday's game is not as much of an indicator of how good the Bills are, because I think the Dolphins actually lost them. 3 turnovers, like Tua throwing an INT at the end of the game. The Dolphins held them through 3 quarters to 7 points.
Won that thing.
No, I agree. But I think that's my argument of why I think the Bills are scarier than kind of coming out of this game, because their defense won in that game. Like, we haven't seen their offense take off. So I think Josh Allen's a damn good quarterback.
And we know that they can.
And we know that they can.
It's the Chiefs argument.
Yeah.
Like yesterday's game,
they can turn it on.
Yeah, yesterday's game is not as much of an indicator as I think.
Stephon Diggs had a great game yesterday too.
Yeah, that was
he's
easy.
been terrible all year.
Yeah,
well,
he was good to start, and then
I'm just saying, like,
they moved
it's
him
another
around.
moment of like they've kind of been underperforming offensively, and yet their defense and run game is like still there, and they flipped the switch in the playoffs. Like, they're kind of unbeatable. So I think there's very few teams that have a chance of beating them. I would love to see them in the AFC Championship against the.
On my flight this morning, though, there were a ton of Bills fans, and we were talking about the Steelers, and they were saying, like, it is a very Bills thing to potentially lose to the Steelers, which I don't agree with personally, but
100%.
It would be. It's interesting to hear that angle from a Bills fan.
They're still like that, though, where it's like they could beat any team, but they could lose to any team.
Yeah,
Buffalo.
Well, we saw it. They almost lost to Easton Stick and the Chargers.
Yeah,
they barely got over the Patriots, right?
Yeah. And
yesterday's game against the Dolphins, it wasn't like they were like leaving that game. You weren't like that team is far superior, like they have been in years past.
But wins a win,
No, of course, of course,
and they have playoff experience.
Oh, yeah,
that's the scary part.
That, like, we know that they can be good in the playoffs.
But man, if you're Baltimore, you're so happy because the AFC just looks like a cakewalk right now. Like, I know Buffalo looks good and they've been winning, but like we just said, a couple of those wins were just like they kind of squeaked by. Whereas Baltimore's just been blowing everybody out the water. They should be excited.
Yeah, but I don't know. The thing that I like about this year's NFL is that I legitimately think there's a chance for, like, not the 1 seeds to win the Super Bowl.
Yeah, the 2 seed, Dallas.
Well, I'm going to counter what you just said, which is like if you're Baltimore, I think that actually hurts Baltimore because they could overlook a team easily, and you could have a Buffalo come in.
I don't think they're the type to overlook teams.
Nah, the Ravens are too. They're too.
It would not shock me.
Their point differential this year has been crazy, which means that they don't overlook.
We gotta wrap up shortly. Can we do a little bit of let's do a little bit of year recaps.
Let's get it.
All right. So
I want to
ask
people watching on TikTok.
Host of the year, Adam Tabashnik.
Yeah, Jack Brody.
Yeah. Facts. Shows up for work. Look at him. He's not even here. I want to recap this year's NFL season now that the regular season is over. Some top of mind questions. If you think of anything top of mind, let me know. All right. What was your favorite moment of this NFL season? Anything you can think of, a moment that you remember from this season that was like, that was fucking awesome.
Is it weird to be like, just because it's the first thing that came to mind is Jack Brody getting a caps off tattoo in the season because
that was cool.
That was before the season.
I think it was before.
That was off season. Yeah.
Yeah.
Never mind. That wasn't the season.
He was ranking his quarterbacks, right?
Yeah, he was ranking his quarterbacks, and he got the caps off tattoo. That was good.
I'm trying to think of moments. I want to hear while we're thinking about this, people in the comments, throw your favorite
comment.
moment.
What your favorite moment was of this season?
Favorite moment of the NFL season.
This is hard for me.
Outside of
honestly,
Adam,
probably the Cowboys beating the Eagles by 30.
Ooh, yeah,
that was pretty sick.
Yeah,
fuck the Eagles.
Yeah, agreed.
That was pretty lit, man. What else?
Oh, I would say the Dolphins putting up 70 on the Broncos. Like that. Oh my god, that.
Okay, this is a little fucked up, but it is kind of one of my favorite moments.
What?
Not Aaron Rodgers getting hurt. I want to specify. I did not enjoy Aaron Rodgers getting hurt.
But Aaron Rodgers getting hurt.
But watching my Jet fan friends react to Aaron Rodgers getting hurt was one of the most entertaining things that happened to me all year.
Nah, that's a funny situation.
I was home with my roommate who's a diehard Jets fan, and he went full on catatonic. Did not speak for an hour.
Catatonic.
He was so shocked. He
Another
just
good word.
sat there stunned. Like, Rodgers came out with the fucking American flag. He looked all dope as shit. The stadium was rocking. We could hear it from New York City. Like, and then it ended. It kind of just, the Jets jetted. That was what it is for me, is I called that the Jets were jetted and the Jets jetted. And that was, Rodgers, love you, man. I hope you come back and ball out next year.
Shout out Bars. He said,
But,
watching the Niners get destroyed by the Ravens.
Yeah, watching Brock Purdy throw 4 interceptions and prove that he's a product of the system. And Sam Darnold coming out in week 18 and actually balling. Yeah.
Also, Tommy DeVito. That was fun.
That was fun
for me.
Well, my least favorite moment is just a multitude of moments. It's all the injuries. It's just
the Dolphins.
No. The whole season.
The whole
season.
Like
Oh,
it just,
yeah.
and I could easily
What was
be
it?
wrong.
10 starting quarterbacks,
Dude, I could easily be wrong,
season?
but I'm gonna go out on a limb and say this is the most injured season in the last decade in the
I've
NFL.
I
never
think
seen
someone
anything
said
like
that.
Because it
But I don't
feels
know. I'm
like
not
that
gonna
from
confirm.
starting quarterbacks, the amount of Achilles that were torn, the amount of ACLs that were fucking.
Can we just count quarterbacks for a second? Rodgers, Kirk Cousins, Joe Burrow, Deshaun Watson.
On the field?
Who?
On the field.
On the field. He got hurt off the field.
Tyrod.
Anthony Richardson.
Tyrod, DeVito, Daniel Jones.
Daniel Jones.
You got all those guys?
No, but I'm saying starters, guys who started the season.
I mean, I'm going to miss guys.
Who else we got? Who else we got? Comments, give it to me.
Well, Gino wasn't out. Gino went
Herbert.
out.
Did I say Herbert?
Herbert.
We're
going to easily miss people.
I don't know, man. There's a fucking lot.
Kirk Cousins? Did you say him? Did you say Kirk?
I said
Cousins?
Kirk, yeah.
Okay. Tannehill.
Did he get hurt?
Kenny Pickett.
Yeah. Horrible. Point is horrible. What a terrible year
But it's
for
not just the quarterbacks. There were so many injuries across the board. It just it's ridiculous.
I would say my least favorite thing if that's what we're doing.
Yeah.
It was the penalties, man. A lot of them.
Whether
Whether it be roughing the passer,
Referees this year were really bad.
mainly roughing the passer, but also like late hits and
Missed pass interferences or
shit.
wrong pass interferences.
Like a safety. Who was the guy that got ejected for the hit on the
The Broncos safety.
Yeah, what game was that?
It was Broncos Colts. He hit Michael Pittman.
Yeah. Shit like that,
Was it
bro.
like-
What do you expect a
Who
fucking
was it?
safety
Was it
to do?
Justin Simmons? Who was it?
I don't know.
I don't know. I think some of these calls, bro, like you don't want defenders to play ball. Like you just don't like what are they gonna do? You can't touch the quarterback. You can't hit a receiver when you're running towards the receiver to make a tackle in case he does catch it. Doesn't make any sense. So I think the referees, man, that sucked this year.
I want to know you. I'm gonna ask this question to people on TikTok, and I'm gonna ask it to you guys. I want each one of us to pick one person, and we were talking about it a little bit, but who was the one person in the NFL that you enjoyed rooting for the most this year, like in the regular season?
I feel like fantasy skews me here.
Yeah,
that's with that, which
absolutely.
is fine.
I mean,
That's it does, bro.
so I'll tell you, and then I traded him away, but I had him for like
Who?
probably 9 weeks.
Who?
Mike Evans.
Ooh,
Mike Evans is fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Like he does not, and we've talked about it a lot this year, but like Mike Evans just hasn't gotten the respect he's deserved in the last 10 years in the NFL. And he just balled out with Baker Mayfield as his quarterback. Now, Baker obviously balled too, but I'm just saying,
Baker's
like,
a good one.
having him in fantasy was awesome. He was great for me in fantasy. I ended up trading him away. I got Debo instead, which was better.
Fake fan.
But Mike Evans was very excited to watch this year.
Felipe, what would you say?
Just happy that he balled.
Oh man, in general, Dak Prescott, obviously,
Yeah.
because like I hung my hat on the fact that last season was an anomaly, and I really had to go hard on that one, and say like the interceptions.
Yeah, you dug your
weren't-
feet in the sand.
the interceptions weren't that wasn't his MO. Look at the all-time stats, all this, all that. The receivers were bad, the offensive line was bad, and then this year he came out and he
did.
after the San Francisco game when Mike McCarthy was like, all right, we're actually going to start trying now offensively and get our best players the ball. God, he turned the fuck up. I wish I would have seen a whole season of that because he would have definitely won MVP. CD would have been the number one in receiving yards, which then would have been every single stat.
Yep.
Yeah, I think Dak in general. And fantasy-wise, probably Justin Fields still. I love Justin Fields, man. I just want to see Justin in Atlanta next year. I know they have other options too. They could go for a Russell Wilson or a Kirk Cousins or one of the young guys in college right now that are coming out. But Justin Fields would make them fucking good.
The easy answer for me, I think you both know where I'm going to go with this, is Puka.
Yeah,
Yeah.
awesome.
Like rooting for Puka and seeing him succeed, also seeing how fucking adorable he is. Like
He's
the videos on
adorable.
TikTok of him and his girlfriend at the
The
Lakers
Laker
game,
game.
cheering
Oh
for LeBron.
my God. He was like, it's LeBron James.
Alex
Oh my
Like,
God.
he's someone that's so likable to root for.
Really
and
is.
also just you add to the fact that like week 1, Felipe and I were talking about in fantasy Puka, even before, I think it was before
we gotta
week 1.
clip that reaction. Felipe was like, who the fuck is that?
Yeah.
Right? Like,
and now here we are talking about Puka.
he just broke he's one of the best rookie wide receivers of all time.
Crazy, bro.
So rooting for Puka this year was so much fun.
I gotta also, I know you weren't gonna say this, but watching Tyreek Hill,
Yeah.
this was Tyreek Hill's best year of his career. And
Yeah.
it was the most exciting year as a
Totally.
wide receiver I've seen in a while. Like it felt just like the dude is fucking different, man.
Yeah,
like,
he is. He's special.
fucking
he's just a
different.
likable guy.
Yeah.
And then Sean McDermott lit his house on fire because he's a terrorist.
I think that's all I got. I was gonna ask like game of the year, but that's
Game of
hard
the
to
year?
remember off the top.
I don't have
Game of
any
the
like
year?
off the top of my head, but game of the year.
Probably the Giants beating the Eagles in Week 18.
That's a
honestly.
good one. It's a good
I
one.
called that one fucking weeks ago, bro.
You did. It almost fucked me in the.
I'll be
picks.
honest, like the Josh Dobbs run was kind of fun.
Oh, that was fun. There were a couple of.
Josh Dobbs was lit.
That was like
Josh Dobbs went on an insanity run as well.
Yeah, he did, unfortunately.
Yeah.
the regular season was wild. Like, let's just take like you had Josh
Bizarre.
Dobbs runs, you had a Tommy DeVito run. At one point, you had the Vikings that were like, "Wow, they're gonna blow it up." What should they do with Jettis? What's gonna happen with Kirk Cousins? And they go on a run and they almost make the playoffs.
Yeah.
The Lions are one of the better teams in the NFL. A team that for 30, 40 years hadn't been able to do anything, and they go out and win the division.
Yep.
You had Tyreek of the first time a wide receiver might have gone for 2,000, but then you don't go for 2,000. And on the opposite end, you had like a multitude of wide receivers go over like 1,400, 1,500 yards, which is
You had the
ridiculous.
most hyped up New York Jets team of all time. Absolutely shit the fucking bed.
Okay, well, not really. Sort of.
Then Joe Flacco, Super Bowl champion.
Bro, Baker.
Joe Flacco goes in within his former team's division and dominates.
Baker Mayfield.
Oh,
Baker Mayfield, who we wrote off as like a fucking bottom 5 quarterback last year. Remember before he went to LA last year, Jack was like, Baker Mayfield's the worst quarterback in football. Like, and there's nothing you could say about it.
Well, that's why we kicked Jack off the pod.
Yeah, exactly.
For that exact take.
We actually didn't get to talk about something that I think is very important to talk about.
what?
I know we've been going on for a long time.
What is it?
Picks?
Well, that's another thing.
That was
Shit.
what I was going to bring up.
The greatest thing of the NFL season happened at 12:01 last night.
Arthur Smith got fired.
Arthur Smith, see ya, you fucking douche.
Yeah.
Arthur Smith got fucking
Bro,
fired.
he knew he was going to get fired. Why the fuck was he so pissed at the New Orleans head coach?
Like, you know who I root for
Oh,
the most?
say shalom aleichem.
Yeah.
Shout out to Jews. Shout out to
Nah, you know who I root for the most? You reminded me. Jameis Winston, always, bro.
Oh,
Number one guy I root for the most. His answer yesterday in the locker room when they were like asking him about the handing it off to Jamal Williams when they were in
That was
victory
hilarious.
formation. Phenomenal, man.
Dude,
At least he was
Jameis
honest.
Winston is that motherfucker.
he's easily the most entertaining guy in the league, Jameis Winston.
What are you, while we're on the Arthur Smith though? Who do you want to see go coach that Falcons team?
I don't know who's.
Staley.
I wish like
Brandon Staley.
You wouldn't want to see Belichick in Atlanta?
hell no.
I mean, he doesn't
want
fit
an
the
offensive-
culture.
I want
there.
an offensive. No, he doesn't. But I also want an offensive mind.
Bobby Slowick, Brian Johnson. Who's the OC in? Who's the OC again in? Ben Johnson. Fuck.
In Philly?
No, the OC in
Flores.
Detroit. No, please.
Oh, the
no.
OC in Detroit? Yeah.
Brian Flores will ruin
Something
that
like
team.
that. Like if Bieniemy wasn't in Washington, I would love him.
Mm.
Like that would be fucking nasty. Because then you actually give your best players the ball, bro. Like Tyreek being good in Kansas City, that's crazy because he's talented, and you give him the ball. The fuck?
Good take.
When Kareem Hunt was there, you give him the ball. The fuck, Travis Kelce, you give him the ball. Imagine this Falcons offense if Drake London, Kyle Pitts, and Bijan Robinson actually touch the fucking ball.
Oh my
We're gonna
God.
see it.
We will.
2024 is the year, baby. What a year. Let's go.
Oh my God, that was hot. Dude.
I'm excited, dude.
Oh man.
We're finally gonna see talent be talented.
Yeah.
Good take, good
Absolutely.
take.
That's what happens. Oh man, you also had the Texans made. The
All right, can we
playoffs.
talk about it?
Yeah, let's
How
do
I
it.
had the greatest comeback story of all time.
Let's go. Talk about it.
I had the greatest comeback story of all time.
No, you do. Confirm.
Confirmed greatest
Should we
comeback
set it up
story.
just like we did with Duff Climbing?
It was
8-minute video.
Because I want to be
was,
very clear. Like, this was the craziest thing I've ever seen.
It was. A
I found this.
beautiful
We found this
day
out at
last
4:30 in
week.
the morning last night. This morning.
I had been losing in the picks throughout the season for the last, let's say, like, I don't know, 7
Put them
weeks,
between your pants.
6-7 weeks.
Oh, relax.
Jack, I think, had a healthy
You
lead
can't
for.
see.
Jack had a healthy lead for a while. You and Jack were going back and forth
yeah.
as the leaders, and Felipe and I were falling behind, and then last week I fell behind, I think, 4 games going into week 18.
Before you explain it, why did this matter so much?
We made a bet. This mattered a lot because we made a bet at the beginning of the season that the person who picked the fewest number of games correctly would have to either shave their head or get frosted tips.
Bingo.
Or both.
Like in sync back in fucking 2001.
JT.
I just picked a year.
I was gonna say,
I don't know if that was right.
That worked. That worked.
But it felt right. Shout out JT. Exactly.
Shout out.
And last year, I don't know, for those of you who are diehards, I was not in the picks. So this is my first season as the picks.
It was you submitted your
picking with
application.
you guys, and I got accepted, thank God. Got the job, but
Barely.
didn't want to come in my rookie season and lose like that. I didn't want to lose. That would suck. And I
Like
was,
Bryce Young.
I would, I'm not always the most knowledgeable. I come with a little bit of a fan perspective, a little bit outsider.
Don't put yourself
we
down.
got a pair of experts here. Jack and I played the fans, right?
Right.
So I was losing, and I was like, fuck this shit very bad. And I'm going into week 18. I'm down 4 games to Felipe. Felipe's in third, and Jack and Adam were tied for first, correct?
2 games ahead of me. So 6 games
So I
ahead
was
of you.
6 games back from first place. So I thought to myself, my strategy is just going to be pick against Felipe. Whatever Felipe picks, I'm just going to pick the opposite. So I think I took like 7 or 8 games
I
differently.
think you took 9.
Whatever it was. I think I took, a bunch of games, maybe 9 games differently than Felipe. And all I was counting on was beating Felipe. I was not paying attention to anyone else because I assumed Jack and Adam had the cake. And I ended up going.
Wait, before you, but no. I'm
not going to say. I had probably the best week of the season this week in my picks. I had a bunch of underdogs. I took the Jets against the Patriots, who hadn't beaten the Patriots since 2015. I took the Titans against the fucking who are they?
Jags.
Against? The Jaguars.
Crazy.
You took the Jets.
Who the Titans? Like Jack said, by the way, Jack was saying he was the one who said fucking Vrabel spoiler ball for the Jaguars.
He wasn't
wrong. Took the Jets. I took the Rams against the Niners. That was a big one for me.
Yeah.
I took a bunch of underdogs that ended up hitting.
Hold on.
I ended up going 13-3 on the week.
But you were only looking at Felipe's.
But I was only looking at Felipe's. I ended up losing to Felipe by 1 game. How many games did Felipe win this season?
This season?
Felipe was 153.
And I ended up
102.
winning 152 games.
Yes. So you were like, fuck.
So I was like,
the
fuck.
loser.
I went to sleep thinking
Your
I am for
girlfriend
sure
was
frosted my tips.
photoshopping
My
you.
girlfriend used some AI app she was like, fuck, I got to see what you look like with frosted tips if I'm going to be able to talk to you or not. Literally. And so she made a little graphic.
So this morning, my flight, obviously, and I think it's important to call out the fact that one of the fans.
I'm just going to show this to the camera.
Yeah, it looks good. Zoom in. See if we can get a
zoom in.
See if we can get a zoom in.
Oh yeah,
that's Matan with frosted
me
tips.
with frosted tips.
So it brings me to
Photoshop.
this morning. My flight was I had to be up at 4:30 for a flight. Go Dolphins! And shout out Mrs. Lean Green on TikTok.
Shout out.
Who messaged us.
You saved my life, Mrs. Lean Green.
Because we went into the night thinking, Matan, you had lost. You had texted us. We didn't even count the rest of the gang.
Nope.
So Mrs. Lean Green
Jack
DMs
texted
us.
in the group, by the way. He said, I have the receipt. Before we see this message, Jack texted in the group, like, when are you going to get frosted tips?
Yep. So Mrs. Lean Green says, just because I love you guys so very much, and we love you too, I did the math, and I'm on the edge of my seat for the frosted tips off. Now, this happened at 9:01. This is in the middle of the Dolphins and Bills game. So she said Adam is the clear leader, and she said brava.
Brava.
I think brava.
Yeah.
Showbiz.
I like brava.
Congratulations to
That's
myself.
a showbiz thing.
But then she said Felipe is 153 and 102. Matan is 152 and 103. And Jack is also 152 and 103. Which meant the Dolphins and Bills game, and we didn't even know.
I took the Bills.
Was
he took
deciding who was going to get the frosted tips. And what ended up happening?
the
Jack.
Bills won, and I fucking won, and Jack lost.
Jack fucking lost. So yeah, this morning we actually still have yet to hear back from Jack. He has not answered.
No, yeah, he laughed at the message, but he did happen to leave very conveniently at the right time.
Yeah, well, no,
He would
he's
lose.
still gonna have to do it, even though he's at better. So make sure to go comment on Jack's post. or
All of
something and
better,
say-
all of better stuff. Comment.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
gotta
go
get Jack
comment
to
at
Frost's
on
tips.
better. Say Jack has to frost his tips
Yes.
or at caps off.
Dude, insane though. Really insane.
And comment on all his Twitter posts as well. All his tweets.
Go to Jack_Parodi on Twitter and just tweet at him, X at him.
Do what you did to Dove Kleiman, do to Jack, but just do it like, yo, you got to frost your tips, bro. Where your tips at? Show us your
tips at. Exactly.
Awesome. So yeah, that was a play. So that was it. Congratulations on your comeback,
dude.
bro. I'm so happy.
Hey, congrats, bro. You earned it, man.
Your head would not
honestly,
have looked good.
my favorite moment of the season was that your comeback.
I couldn't agree more.
My favorite moment is you wearing a Dolphins hat right now.
Miami has the Dolphins,
the greatest football team. We take them all.
All right, we've been doing this for way too long. Yo, thank you for listening to the Caps Off podcast. We'll see you next time.
Peace.